Have you ever noticed how easy it is to take care of other people or your pets or your kids, but when it comes down to you, you cannot forget yourself? This has happened so many times in my life that I changed things and I stopped and I say, now I'm going to start treating myself as a pet. I swear to you, it might sound weird when I'm saying that, but it actually really makes sense. So let me give you a little bit more background on that. Um, Self-care is always something that I found like, I don't know, elusive. Like I was never really sure what it really was, but I was sure when I ended up in situations where I was burnt out and I really had to take care of myself for that reason, that actually I might have forgotten to take care of myself before. So self-care was something that maybe I thought I was doing, I was paying attention to nutrition, I was doing some exercise or things like this, but I always ended up in places where I'm like, I don't really feel that I'm taking care of myself. I don't necessarily feel that I'm treating myself poorly and voluntarily doing things to myself to hurt myself, but am I actually doing things that demonstrate love, demonstrate that I really care and that I really matter to myself? This was something a little bit more like, in the air or like very like, yeah, fluffy concept. I was like, not really sure what to do there. And I heard Matthew say, who is a relationship coach that you can find on Instagram, one time talking about self-love and self-care. And he was basically saying like, you are making this very complicated because it's actually very simple. Like think about a pet or think about a kid. If they were doing they were not doing well, or you could see that they were not eating or something was happening, you would immediately know what to do. You would immediately say, oh, okay, yes, they are not eating, I'm gonna feed them. They feel sad, I'm gonna play with them. Like things very naturally, you would not question it. You would be like, okay, this is what they need, this is what I'm going to help them with. And this is something that somehow doesn't pop up in the like relationship with yourself. I don't know. At least in my case, it never really happened. And yeah, it made perfect sense, right? If you have a pet or a kid you love, you are gonna do for them what they need, and you are gonna be there and respond to that. And this is something that I started really thinking about, and basically thinking about pets, because for me, I don't have kids, so I can't relate to that. But I used to live with a pet, and it wasn't my pet. I was just like subrenting a room in a place where there was a cat. And I was so scared when I started living there about how can I take care of her, because sometimes I was going to end up with her, cat sitting on the weekends where the other people were not there. And I was like, how do you keep a cat happy? How do you make sure that they don't die, but that they're also well taken care of? And I read a few things about that, and it's always very simple. It's like obviously feed them, give them water. That's the foundation, but also play with them, because it's something that will keep them healthy. And also, have moments that are maybe like higher energy like this, but also moments of quiet. So if they come and they want to stay with you and lay down there, just be quiet, just pet them a little bit, but basically kind of follow what they need and follow what they're telling you they need. And also another thing that I was saying that is also very weird is like talk to them, like in the sense, like if your pet enter the rooms and they just came to see you, just acknowledge that they are there, just tell them that they are the most beautiful pet you've ever seen. Like it's what you do with pets. You just like like use nicknames and you tell them that they are beautiful. It's like a normal thing to do. And this is like, I was looking at that and I was doing that with the cat, and she was very happy and she really loved me. And I was like, I'm not doing this with myself, which is kind of a bit strange, right? So this is something that I've changed using this mindset from Matthew say, and my experience with my cat as well. So it's a very strange video. So if you're listening and you're like, what is she talking about? I promise you, it makes sense. And yeah, so I started thinking partially of what do I need. So just stopping during the day and thinking, what do I need right now? And sometimes it's just actually, you know what? I haven't had any water for like at least 2 hours. I'm very, very bad with drinking water. I always forget. And it's like sometimes I'm just, oh yeah, I'm actually thirsty right now. Or like, maybe I feel my brain is agitated, but I don't really know why. It's like just pausing and thinking, okay, what do I need right now? What do I feel right now? Oh, okay, yeah, I feel a bit stressed about this thing. Or actually, you know what? I feel a bit sad. I don't know why necessarily, but okay, I need to do something about it to just bring myself back up and bring some joy. And just having this practice of what do I identifying what do I need right now, what does my brain need, what does my body need, and do something about it. Like this little step of just acknowledging and being aware has already made a big difference. And it's very simple. You don't need to like overthink what it is. It's like, oh yeah, I'm hungry, I'm eating, okay, oh yeah, I feel a bit sad, let me just watch something that makes me happy. And yeah, so that was the first thing, is like thinking about myself as a pet. And the other inspiration I got from pets is around safety. because this is another thing around self-care. And I think one of the reasons why I've always struggled with self-care or ended up in burnout is because I was constantly rushing, or I was like in a kind of survival mode. At least my brain perceived I was in survival mode. I was, constantly doing, and yeah, like, when you're busy with work or things like that, then the self-care automatically just drops in the background and doesn't seem as a big priority. And that for me, it's like, oh, my brain is thinking that I'm not safe. And that is why it's doing other things than actually doing self-care as a priority. And having to retrain that is something I'm still working on creating safety. So signaling to my brain that I'm safe. And the reason why I say I'm thinking about that is that you will see when pets are not, like, particularly with cats, when they don't feel safe with you, they are not gonna want to be around you. But also you will notice that they take that they stop grooming themselves. Like, the cat I was living with was very happy, constantly grooming herself, licking herself, always clean. And sometimes I go to coffee shops where they have cats, and you can see the cats are they're alive, but they're not necessarily, they're not really happy in that environment, and you can see that they're not really taking care of themselves. And this is one thing, like, grooming is actually a signal that I'm feeling safe. And that's something that I've changed, for instance. So I'm now looking at grooming, like, if I do my nail, or if I do my makeup, or things like that, or if I just put some cream on my body so that my skin is a bit less dry. These are all acts of grooming. And that, for me, I make sure that my brain, when I'm doing that, is like, brain, see, we have time for that. We have time to take care of the body and the brain. Or even when I do meditation, that's also self-care. It's like, loop, brain, see, this is us being safe. This is us grooming ourselves. This is a sign of safety, that we are at this point in time. There is nothing happening. There is no danger. There is just you existing in that specific moment, and you are fine. And yeah, this is something that might sound strange when I'm saying that, but actually, yeah, if you feel that you've been living in survival mode, or that you are, struggling a bit with self-care, sometimes it's just not taking care of yourself. It's just helping your brain see that you are safe, and therefore you have the room to take care of yourself properly, and yeah, prioritize that as well. So yeah, that was another weird thing, but like self-talking yourself into safety, yeah, acknowledging if you are safe right now is just gonna help as well. And then the last thing that I started doing, which is more on the side of what I was mentioning earlier with, giving words of affirmation, or telling your cat that they are the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and things like that, is writing myself love letters. So I do this weekly, and I've been doing this, I think, now for like almost 2 years, maybe, on a weekly basis. So I have my, on the Saturday morning, I go to a coffee shop, and I drink coffee very slowly, and then I write a love letter to myself. And what I do is basically kind of trying to step away from me, and just imagine that there is somebody who is really taking care of me, who I really matter to. Just putting on paper the things that they loved about me that week, and it can be things, yeah. It can be things that are like hard, and they notice that I handled it in the best way I could. Or there were things that they were like, oh my God, you really rocked there. That was really amazing. Or it can just, little things about who I was. I try particularly to focus on, I love how curious you were about this, rather than things that I would have done. Like, I'm not trying to write a letter about to-do list. Look at what you achieved this week, but more like how you've been, how you've experienced, and any kind of art situation that I'm still processing, or where there is a bit of tension, or a bit of uncertainty. I try to write things as if I was somebody, like as if it was my best friend giving me a pep talk, or just giving me grace in that moment. And what this has done as well, outside of having words of affirmations, and it's things that I read, like, for instance, today I read again what I wrote a year ago, to just see the difference, or see the same patterns actually, or see how much grace I was giving myself already. And this has obviously, like, having all these words written and rereading them is good for just for me, like, for my self-esteem. It's amazing, but it also makes sure that I remember that I actually exist, which is, as I was mentioning earlier, sometimes you forget that you exist, or you forget that you have needs, but making sure that there is, at least on paper, there is a proof that I'm there, that I've done things that week, that I've been in certain ways that week, and then just rereading that is a powerful thing. And yeah, this is what I've been doing for my own self-care. So I'm saying like treat yourself like a pet really works. But basically what that means is just like thinking about what your needs are, and really what your brain needs, making sure that you create some safety and that you really signal to your brain that you are safe, so that you can see self-care as something that can be prioritized, and then also not forgetting to give yourself some good love in words, whether it's writing a letter or just saying it out loud. I know some people, talk to themselves in the mirror and give themselves a pep talk every day. That can also work. So yeah, this was my approach. I know it's a bit weird, but it works, and it really helped me think about self-care in a way that is actually way easier than I have to do all these other things. It's like, no, I need to check my needs. I need to remember that I'm safe, and I need to just put some good words on paper once a week. And that's been really helpful. So if you have some weird techniques as well that you've developed that work for you, I would love to hear them in the comments. And if you want some more self-care, one thing that is very helpful is having boundaries. And I talked about this in the video yesterday, so go check this one out. And otherwise, I see you tomorrow.